Finding a cure for a disease or tracking the global climate are often viewed as biological or environmental quests. In reality, they are massive mathematical problems. For decades, solving these problems has relied on a slow cycle of trial and error, a process strictly governed by how fast a human can work and the limited capacity of traditional computing. In drug discovery, researchers sift through millions of potential molecules over a decade. It is a multi-billion-dollar process that usually ends in failure. This high failure rate comes from searching in the dark, hoping to finally stumble upon the one compound that works. We see the same barrier at the planetary scale. Simulating the ocean requires massive sets of physical equations that quickly become too dense for standard computers to process with any detail. This is the limit of traditional methodology. Our most vital scientific goals have become too complex for a system based on human speed and manual calculation. Artificial intelligence introduces a different methodology, moving the scientific process away from physical guesswork and toward a system of predictive design. In the microscopic world, AI analyzes massive biological datasets to find structural patterns that are far too subtle for human observation to detect. We see this in how AI handles proteins. It identifies a simple amino acid chain's exact 3D shape without a physical lab. Scientists use these virtual models to simulate interactions and architect entirely new synthetic compounds designed to bind with the target's precise geometry. This shift has compressed years of traditional research into months of computation. As a result, dozens of AI-assisted drug candidates are already in development for diseases like cancer and fibrosis. Discovery is no longer a matter of physical testing through millions of failures. It is the act of digitally projecting the exact solution required. At the planetary scale, we see this same predictive power applied to the ocean. These currents function as a global circulatory system, moving massive amounts of energy and heat. These flows regulate global weather and absorb the vast majority of the heat generated by global warming. Understanding their movement is absolutely essential for accurate climate forecasting. Traditional models struggle here. Capturing the fine details of these currents through rigid physical equations requires an impractical level of computing power. New approaches like the GOFLOW method change the strategy. They move away from relying solely on manual physics equations. Instead of calculating physical interactions from scratch, AI learns from data. It fuses satellite imagery and sensors to identify cohesive flow. By learning from patterns, the system predicts ocean movement, revealing intricate structures in the water that traditional math failed to capture. This transition from brute force capitulation to pattern recognition turns the ocean from an unsolvable set of equations into a system we can finally visualize in motion. From the behavior of molecules to the movement of oceans, the same pattern is emerging across every field of science. AI has evolved into a discovery engine, a system that generates the specific paths toward a solution rather than simply processing our existing observations. It uncovers deep structural patterns in reality that exist beyond the reach of human intuition. This shift moves the speed of progress away from the limits of human observation and toward the raw capacity of computation. We are entering a phase where systems simulate physical interactions at a scale that can generate years of experimental insight in a single day. This level of predictive power changes the definition of what we consider a solvable problem. It expands the boundaries of science by making the impossibly complex technically feasible.